I've now decided to stop watching Amazon's The Wheel of Time completely. If you watch my first thoughts video, which I'll leave a link to here, then I don't think this will come as any great surprise. I set out some initial concerns that I had, and I was hoping that as I got deeper into the first season, some of these would either be resolved, or I'd be able to enjoy the show by considering it as a separate entity from the books. But even trying to watch it this way, I still find it bland, and to be honest, pretty forgettable. So I'm giving up. Some of the concerns I had were resolved somewhat as the episodes went on, specifically around the pacing issues. I also wasn't a fan of how the writers approached the dialogue, stripping out a lot of the vernacular from the books. I was happy to see more of these Jordanisms as we went on through the episodes, but for me, sadly, I still don't feel this adaptation has successfully captured the spirit of the Wheel of Time that I know. And that's really what I wanted from this show. I understand adapting such a sprawling and well-loved series as this to a TV format is a mammoth task, and I expect there to be changes. But what I honestly don't understand is why showrunner Rafe Judkins chose to change some things that are so fundamental to the basic premise of the books, specifically the fact that one power has two halves, one controlled by women and the other by men. In my last video, I looked at how Judkins said he wanted to remove what was referred to as the binary aspects of the books. By this I'm assuming this is referring to gender. So much so that it left it open as to whether the Dragon Reborn was going to be a boy or a girl. What was termed as being a binary motif, for me, informs the characters and the story on such a fundamental level that to strip it out completely is like removing its core, which for me is what has happened. Something I feel that was completely unnecessary thing to do. If Amazon wanted to adapt a fantasy book series for TV, I'm sure there are plenty to choose from that don't have this binary approach to gender roles, if that was something that was so important to them. Why choose the Wheel of Time to begin with? It honestly confuses me. Not every adaptation has to be like the books, that is not what I'm saying. But when the creators chose to adapt the Wheel of Time, in the very least I believe they should attempt to be faithful to the spirit of the books, that incidentally have a massive and fiercely loyal fanbase. In other areas where it's added arguably gratuitous violence, such as the killing of Perrin's wife in the first episode, and added elements of sex and nudity, I feel like it's wandering into the grimdark realms in an attempt to try to be the next Game of Thrones. But it doesn't even do that very well, and so the result is a bland and forgettable patchwork that lacks its own identity. I think one of the other issues that I have, which is probably the biggest, is that I don't care about any of the characters. I could forgive absolutely anything if they just made me care about the characters, but unfortunately, I just don't. In fact, I think they've done an injustice to a number of them, specifically Loyal, which is a well-loved character in the books. In the latest episodes, however, the last episode I watched was episode 6, they just had him wandering around pointlessly in the background. And when it came to doing the thing the Ogier was supposed to do, which is open the waygate for everyone to pass through, they just had Moraine do it, because apparently it's the Moraine show. Fantasy author Brandon Sanderson, who wrote later books of the Wheel of Time series following Jordan's passing, and who was also consulting producer for the show, took to Reddit some weeks back to air his own views on how the show had been approached. From his comments, it was clear that he and Judkins did not always see eye to eye, but Judkins had the final say. On changing the dualistic magic system, making it possible for the Dragon Reborn to be a woman, he said, "In this adaptation, this is a change. It is something I offered feedback on and wouldn't have done myself. Rafe wanted Egwene to be an option for the dragon, so that viewers going into the show unfamiliar with the source material would wonder if she was the one. He wanted Who is the Dragon to be the central mystery of the opening season, and wanted all 4 of the younger leads to be viable. So as far as anyone in-world knows, the dragon could be reborn female in this age. This is a major change to the canon. I understand Rafe's reasoning. It is simpler, offers a new perspective for the story, and streamlines the narrative. It's not a choice I'd have made, but it's one I can accept for this incarnation of the Wheel of Time. On the changes to the tonal approach, he said in a separate post, One thing I don't want this Wheel of Time adaptation to try to do is lean into being a tonal Game of Thrones replacement, i.e. I don't want to lean into grimdark ideas. Killing Perrin's wife felt edgy just to be edgy. Interestingly and tellingly, Sanderson said that he views this adaptation as a new turning of the wheel. He said, "It's not an adaptation of the books to me. It's an adaptation of the next time these people are living this story." I admit, this is a really interesting way to view the show, and I would have loved to be able to do this. And if you do love the show, I'm really pleased that you do. Perhaps it's because I'm still going through my first read of the series that I can't do this, because I feel like I'm on this ongoing journey with the characters and experiencing the beautiful and detailed world that Jordan has created. Perhaps I'll come back to the show in a few years' time and I will have a completely different take on it. Who knows? I'd love to get all of your thoughts in the comments on the changes the show has made and whether you think they work. I want to know if you love the books, and if you do you still love the TV show? So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, happy reading.